Hey Adam, why don't you practice slow?
I recently read an interesting article on the BulletProofMusician.com written by Noah Kageyama, a musician who applies sports psychology to musical practice concepts. In the article, he linked to a great video of golfer Ben Hogan practicing his swing, and it really looks like it's in slow motion. Every tiny muscle movement is accounted for, and he knows exactly where to move the golf club when. Martial artists will use a similar idea sometimes and practice kicking and punching and other maneuvers with extremely slow movements. When I ask my students to practice slowly, it's for this reason: to account for every single muscle movement and action necessary in order to actually perform the passage. The first time that I ask them to slow down, they will inevitably not play it slow enough for my liking. I'll often use terms like glacially slow to describe how slow I really want, because I want my students to be conscious of every aspect of their playing, from their right hand alternation, to their left hand fingering, to their wrist position, etc., etc., etc. Being conscious and accountable for every action that you make makes practicing more about the process than the outcome. The outcome should simply be assumed that you'll be able to play something cleanly at a fast tempo. It's more about accepting the fact that you can't do it right now. Why then is it difficult to play slowly? Well, it's a question of control. When you play things fast, minor deficiencies in your technique get smoothed over. These deficiencies are painfully obvious when you're playing something slower. If you ever feel like you've really nailed a piece of music, try turning on a metronome at quarter the tempo that you're used to. Get ready to be humbled. My teacher in graduate school and all-around badass composer, Jim McNeely, no relation, oddly enough, calls slower tempos adults-only tempos that younger jazz musicians, no matter how prodigiously talented, can never seem to play with any degree of conviction. There is a limit, of course, to this slow practice thing, because at some point we want to be able to practice our fast movements. The question is how do we practice these fast movements with the same degree of control that we were obtaining when we were practicing passages slowly? Well, by practicing fast movements slowly, of course. It's not quite as illogical as it might sound. Consider this: I'm going to practice a C major arpeggio in 2 octaves across 3 strings. And my question for you is, am I practicing this slowly, or am I practicing this fast? And I would say that I'm practicing that very fast, because the amount of time in between each element, each note, is very, very minuscule. And I have to time it so that my right hand and my left hand move exactly at the same moment. And so there's no space in between each note. Watch again. And so this is what I mean by practicing fast slowly. It's basically giving you enough time in between fast movements to orient yourself for the next fast movement. Eventually, once you get comfortable with everything, you can simply take the amount of time that you're waiting away, and then you'll be able to practice the whole thing quickly. When you're practicing this way, the aim is to relax your muscles as much as you possibly can. Tense muscles don't afford you the same degree of control as relaxed muscles do. I recorded myself playing a walking bass line and improvising a jazz solo over a 12-bar B-flat blues at 140 beats per minute. Watch how relaxed my wrists and my forearms are. Okay, well, something sounded and looked a little bit strange about that. Well, actually, that was recorded at twice the tempo at which you just heard it, 280 beats per minute. Here's what I actually recorded. The only way that you'll be able to stay relaxed at that fast tempo is if you practice by staying relaxed at the slower tempos. Recording technology and video technology is great at slowing things down. Not only can you make really awesome vaporwave tracks, But you can also use it as a practice tool to see exactly where you're tensing up when you're playing fast, and exactly what you need to do when you're practicing slower so that you can rectify any problems in your technique. Anyway, this has been Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this week's lesson. I have a new lesson coming out every Monday, so please stick around. And until next time, bass. The first time that I ask them to slow down, they will inevitably... Okay.
One more time?
Inevitable!